Hey yo, what's decent? Now you know when you hear this music that something serious is about to go down. I have one hell of a match to showcase you guys. Oh my lord. Let's get things started. I'm going to lead out with my Chestnut. My opposition leads out with his Rotom. So anyway, he's going to go for the Will-O-Wisp, but that doesn't affect me aside from the residual damage that I'll take from the burn, because I'm not bearing any attacking moves on my Chestnut. My purpose is to set up the spikes, taunt you to prevent you from doing the same, and like just phase you out to accumulate residual damage. So that's what my Chestnut is here for. Plus, this is a grass type, it blocks spore users as well. So anyway, I decided to switch up my moves, go for the Roar, because I knew that he was going to go for the Volt Switch. I wanted to see what his initial switch might have been. So anyway, in comes his Tyranitar, which is great. So I figured that he's going to assume that since I'm burned, I'm going to want to like inflict some damage onto it, and or probably get up another layer of spice. So bearing that in mind, I'm thinking this is actually the perfect time to bring in my Masquerain. And I know I'm going to get this one dude who's going to be like, yo, what is Masquerain doing on your squad? I'm about to put you onto what Masquerain does. Sticky web all day, son. You don't even have a rapid spinner. And plus, I knew that he was going to be compelled to take out my Masquerain too, because I know that I think he knows that it gets Hydro Pump. I mean, I don't know. Masquerain is not necessarily a thing that people use. But my whole purpose was to bring that in, set up the Sticky Web, and go right back out into my Chestnut, set up the Leech Seed, so that whatever he decides to switch out into, provided that he does decide to switch out, which he does, won't, like, you know, set up completely in my face. Like, let's say if he brought out something that has Substitute, now it will be reluctant to use Substitute while I'm setting up spikes. And plus, since I'm burned, I'll be taking residual damage from the burn, so it'll be nice if I could get some residual damage coming from my opposition, which I would inflict the Leech Seed on potentially if I did Leech Seed, which is what I did. So now I'm able to set up a secondary layer of spikes. I got spikes as well as Sticky Web on the field, so I'm looking pretty good right now. Plus, I do have the Rocky Helmet, so since his Guard Charm is seated, it's more compelled to do an offensive move onto me, and he's taking Rocky Helmet damage. So think of that as residual damage inside the barrier, and whatever he decides to switch out into will be taking residual damage outside the barrier when it comes into play with the spikes. Barrier is kind of like a figure of speech that I'm using here. So anyway, in comes my Gengar. I have the Will-O-Wisp. What do you know about that, yo? Oh my god, Dragon Claw's not doing anything to me. This is a Gengar right, actually, a Mega Gengar, and look at how much I'm recovering. I almost took nothing from that. That is majestic. Oh my gosh. Mega Gengar return, you've done enough. And I'm going to take advantage of the fact that his Guard Charm is burning, switching my Excadrill to rapid spin away his entry hazards that he did place on the field with Tyranitar earlier on. But that's a little bit of crazy, because why would you switch in an Excadrill on a Guard Charm? I mean, I know his damage output would be cut in half when it inflicts the Earthquake onto the Excadrill, but still, what you don't know is my Excadrill is packing the Sugar Berry, so I feel comfortable doing that. So now I'm gonna go for the Earthquake since he double switched out into his Lucario, and I dare not go for the Rapid Spin. I don't need to do an over prediction at that point in the battle. A lot of things take super effective damage, if not a lot of damage coming from Excadrill's Earthquake, so that's something I definitely want to keep for later on. And comes Azumarill, so he has no choice, in my opinion, at this point in the game, to go for the Aqua Jet for reasons that I just explained. That Excadrill really checks a lot of his guys on his party, so now he's going to switch out, saving his Azumarill for later, giving me the notion that he's choice. So that's great knowledge to know. And expecting his Azumarill to switch out, I am now going to switch up my moves myself and go for the Toxic on the incoming switching, and I catch a Rotom. Now I hope you have a 1-year warranty on that thing, because it's about to be destroyed. I don't have any worries about Gastrodon, barring the possibility of Rotom having Hidden Power Grass, which is something to keep in mind. I mean, because like me myself, I have things like Magnezone with Hidden Power Fire, and I got like an Aegislash with Hidden Power Ice, so it is possible. Don't completely rule out that possibility, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, you will get caught off guard, and you will be sitting up there with your DS super upset. So now, knowing that his Rotom is going to bite the dust pretty soon, I decided to switch up my moves also, just in case his Rotom happened to be the Resto Chesto set. So like I said, last time I faced a Rotom, I wasn't expecting that, but now, in this case scenario, it's like I'm look forward or look out more so for that kind of set, especially since myself used to run it all the time in 5th gen. So now in comes Azumarill. Like I said before, Play Rough is not going to be enough to take me out. You are inflicted with a Toxic, so you know, if you decide to stay in while I go for the recovery, it is not going to finish me off. I guess he realizes this and switches right out into his Gardevoir. Now in his case scenario, that puts a "that's more like it" notion to the situation here, because since I actually am a physical wall instead of a special wall, and plus he traced my Storm Drain, so it's not like I can hit him with skulls anymore. That applies pressure to my Gastrodon, so what I'm going to decide to do is stay in anyway and go for the Toxic, and then afterwards when Gardevoir is trapped, I'm going to decide to go and use Shadow Ball from the incoming Gengar, provided that he does decide to stay in. The Calm Mind actually scares me a little bit, because I'm like, oh my gosh, if he Calm Minds too much, then I can't finish this dude off. I'm going to have to bring an Excadrill a little bit earlier on, and I don't want to do that as of yet while he still has a Azumarill. So Gastrodon's still in play. I'm decided to go and use Earthquake. In this case scenario, he's going to go for the Psychic. Almost finishes me off, but not quite, which is great. Which means at this point, he takes 2 turns of toxic damage as opposed to the one that I was anticipating when I decided to switch into my Gengar after he finishes off the Gastrodon. So Gastrodon's looking pretty good. It's serving his purpose right now. That's great. He was able to toxic 3 Pokemon, accumulate residual damage, and that was actually pretty good. A useless crit there. Gastrodon, thank you. Take a long rest. I'm feeding you Pokepuffers when we get back to the house. So anyway, in comes my Gengar, son. Gardevoir is not ready for this dude, son. It's a whole list right now, Smoke. I'm ready to ban this clown from all existence. What do you know about this Mega Gengar, son? Well, we've seen it about 1,000,000 times, but every time it destroys something, yo. Damn, man. In comes Azumarill. Son, Azumarill? What are you doing, son? What you doing? No, I'm just kidding. We're gonna switch out into my boy Cloyster, expecting him to go for the Aqua Jet. So I'm like, okay, I figured it's the perfect time for me to set up my Shell Smash. So that's great. Look how much damage I take from that Aqua Jet. And I was so enraveled with the fact that, like, okay, he's locked into Aqua Jet that I didn't even gauge the damage output that was inflicted onto the Cloyster. Otherwise, I would have noticed that it wasn't even choice banded. He actually makes a mistake and runs damage calcs to try to see how much Play Rough will do, but in the midst of him running damage calculations, he actually allows the timer to run out. Now let's say, hypothetically speaking, that you were able to retaliate to my Cloyster and finish it off with the Play Rough. I bring in my Mega Gengar, trap it, so there's no switching in that case scenario, and then afterwards, since you're not choice banded, the Aqua Jet won't be enough to finish off Mega Gengar from that range of HP, and then I will retaliate back with the Shadow Ball, finish off the Mega Gengar, you bring in Lucario, let's say hypothetically speaking again, and then you go for the Bullet Punch, and or you could bring in Tyranitar, doesn't even matter in this case scenario, but I'm just saying that there's nothing you could have done against Excadrill at that point in the game. So like after I finish off Azumarill, Excadrill is free to clean up house. It's all over, done, out of here, paint job is done, contract over, terms and conditions terminated, everything is done, it's over. Excadrill is cleaning up the house. So I definitely had a lot of fun. Peace, guys. What you doing?